But if you pass this, then you would have to follow whatever's in the growth policy. It would have to be equal or more, or how does that work?
See, the growth policy doesn't say this is your zoning, okay? It doesn't
Separate.
have zoning requirements, okay? It just basically gives you an outline of what the county's all about, population-wise, use of property, agriculture, environment, minerals, services, okay? And it doesn't address zoning. What the state law regarding zoning says is that you should be following and amending and adopting zoning ordinances with a growth policy in mind, okay?
So your growth policy is like an idea of what your map should be like. And
Yes.
you're like, okay, we can take several different roads, but
Yes, it's a framework. It's not regulatory, it doesn't require you to follow. Like Bill says, or asked, you're not required to follow a growth policy in order to enact the zoning ordinances. And it's a framework you should consult before doing so. If you don't follow it, you're not gonna get in trouble. I know that sounds bad.
no, I mean, because it's like, it's the reason you have easements is that you have piping, you have natural gas, you have sewer pipes, you have electrical, you have whatever else. Maybe you need to widen the road. There's a reason that we have the setbacks, we have the easement. That's why you have your zoning. If you don't have a reason for the zoning, then get rid of it. Right? So I mean, if you were following what your initial plan is later, you're not going to have a problem. That's why you have a plan to build a house. So that you don't later go, that's not what I wanted. And I screwed on that. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot of discussion. We've tabled this in the past. Personally, maybe we ought to table it for another 2 months. And look at it again.
Could I say something? You know, Mr. Nottingham has tabled this over and over again, and he's had objections, yet he has not read it. And I find that rather perplexing. If he has objections to this growth policy, he certainly should have read it. And if he has read it, then I think that he should put his objections out plainly for everybody to see. I have read it, and I don't comprehend how anybody could object to it. All it is an overview of the county, how the people think, and what the priorities of the county as a whole are. That's all. It's not a mandated thing. And I would suggest anyone to read it and find out if you could actually see mandates written into it. If you guys want to table it, great. But who's actually going to read this thing? You know, if you got objections, state what they are and pull it right out of the document.
And why do we have something? Why would we adopt something? And then it really doesn't do us any good.
Well, that's been addressed by the lawyer and by Mr. Brennan.
I would suggest that maybe some of the more vocal individuals, and I would volunteer myself to read this and bring a committee report back at the next council meeting. I can, I'm not going to voice a plus or minus. I haven't read it, I'll tell you that, but it's gotten me interested now, and I will read it, and would suggest that we appoint a committee of interested individuals that we make a pointed effort to research.
Definitely give a lot more voice to the people here. If we feel that's something, I wouldn't say necessarily a 2 month table, but a month. I mean, we've kicked this around enough that, now that we've got people that are serious to jump into it, I don't think that would be a wise decision. Personally, for a guideline and groundwork, I think it's fine to have something like that in place. I think if, like he's saying, from the overview I've skimmed on it, I didn't necessarily see anything that said you are binded to this, you're handcuffed to that. But that's just my opinion. It's not somebody else's. But yeah, if we're willing, we actually get a committee that actually is interested and wants to pursue it. I think we get more out of it versus just kicking us around the table all the time. Put it to one.
Well, we can put a sign-up sheet in the office for anybody that wants to be on the committee and actually
Yeah, and then
peruse that.
even if
is
they're
what
at the post
policy
office
is.
too, to let more people know than just in here, because then
Right.
people will be affected.
So what say you?
I motion we table it to a committee and meet on August and go off of opinions and like that.
Have a motion to table the resolution for 80 until August and from the committee. Do I have a second? Do I have a motion and a second? All in favor?
That and counting, I guess would be interesting to find out more on it too.
I'll read it and go from there. We can discuss.
Definitely dry, need a lot of coffee.
Give that back to Brenda, we'll do that later. Okay, the next item on the agenda is an application and letter from the Two Bear about the special events policy. And what they are asking is for the council to waive the open container regulations for Fromberg Days. They would like to sponsor a street dance at that time, and if we can't do that, or the council does not approve it, then they will not do a street dance this year at all.
That's all I asked for is just to block the street like normal.
And waive the open container for those few hours that
Always for the last 30 years, I haven't seen it couldn't do it again. I motion to accept it.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the application for the Two Bear Restaurant and Lounge from Micah, Diane, Lynn. All approved, or all in favor?
Hold on, I got to say, Sherry, on that open container, can you restrict that to like cans and no bottles?
I
Because,
think that is a,
I think that's in the events part.
is it?
It doesn't mean that everybody follows it. Some people carry it in the back of their
And
outfit.
the street will be barricaded, so there's only, certain areas that you can have that in.
drinks
You
leave
can't
the
go
bar.
outside of those, outside the barricade area.
Usually they take all the bottles out and sell all they can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're worried about just keeping the trough full of cans.
Mhm.
So you notify the sheriff's department for some group?
That's yours. No, yours. Elton Kirtley is on the agenda for, he wants to talk about notification times for special meetings.
Okay. The reason I think it's necessary is because 2 days isn't enough to notify the public of a special council meeting. And also, if you have 5 days up, there's less likely to be confusion on what's actually on the docket and whether it's actually posted properly. And some of you on the council know exactly what I'm talking about. I won't go into detail on that. But you guys all know that if we're going to have a democracy, it has to be done in a way where people can actually have input. And I think the funny business really ought to stop. And I think 5 days gives a little bit more opportunity to have some people have some input on actually what's happening in this town. So I would say 5 working days and proper notification. In other words, well posted and not in the finest print you can put out, not behind the screen on the door all wrinkled up, and in both locations well. That's common respect for the people of this town. So, 5 working days I think is plenty fair for everybody and for the council.
I think 5 working days would be applicable when you have the time. Some meetings, you're not allowed that much time.
Well, I think you guys can make that kind of time.
No, you can't all the time. When it's available, it would be good. When it's not, there's times that you have to have a meeting, you have to have a meeting. You don't have 5-day lunch.
Well, I think that if that's true, you should be able to document it.
Can't change history sometimes.
You know, I'm not talking about
Change
history.
events, you can't.
I'm talking about
Sometimes you have
future,
to
I'm talking
do
about
what has
future
to be
events and
done.
basic responsibilities of the people in the town. And I dare say that most of the time, 5 days is plenty adequate and perfectly capable of being met, and it would cut out a mighty lot of funny business.
All of our meetings are always posted according to state law, 48 hours in advance.
And I saw how the last one was posted.
It was posted 48 hours in advance.
No,
Yes, it was.
no.
It most certainly was.
You want me to tell the details of what really happened here? I will.
I know what happened here.
No,
We
you.
called a special
I'll tell the
meeting.
truth about what happened here, and it's going to bypass what you just said, and I have proof.
Then show me the proof. Show me the proof. Show me a timestamp. Show me a photograph that's timestamped when those
I've got a
notices,
photograph.
when
and I
those
have a
notices were
photograph.
put out.
But do you want me to tell the details of what actually happened? Do you want me to tell this whole town?
Go ahead.
Okay. The sign in the post office on the 9th, for the 7th, okay? There was a sign in there for that resolution to pay those people. There was no resolution there talking about the PWD, in other words, the Public Works Director. No notification. Okay. Over here, and there's only legally, you can only have one thing on the docket at a time. Come over here, on the same day, there was a notification up, nicely written, on the glass, small print, but it had to do with the resolution for paying the company. Curled up underneath, very hard to read, in very fine print, and I have photographs to prove it, was a notification of the PWD, not in the post office. And again, only one item on the agenda at a time for a special council meeting. So, that was an illegal move. At best, it was irresponsible. And I'm saying that is funny business that has no business. Trying to throw in a vote on the PWD, which was extremely controversial, and slap that in with another thing that was posted very well in the post office. That's a sneaky little trick. And there's
Okay,
no question for that.
In the first place, both meetings were posted. And when we have 2 special meetings in one day, you have one special meeting discussing one item, one subject.
They were both at the same time.
No, they were not.
They were.
That meeting will be closed and then you go into another meeting.
They were listed on the same day, same time.
They were not.
They were.
Elton, I have a question. Who posted those?
That's a good question. You should be able to answer that one.
It was not myself.
Yes.
because I was
I know
at
she
the
didn't do
doctor.
it.
I wasn't here.
She
And
was
that's-
No,
sick.
we weren't,
I was
because
sick.
I posted those.
I just
Okay.
wanted everybody in the audience.
But there was no funny business going on. And I know that the Public Works Department is controversial to a few people. And it was
people are people.
unnecessary slander and gossip.
Absolutely. That's an
And,
opinion
you know,
that you
and
can
that's-
share, but we
that's
don't have
fine.
to agree with you.
That's fine, you don't have to agree with me. But when you have somebody new come into town and then you start doing all of this stuff and try to run them out without giving anybody a chance,
Wait a second, we're getting into a lot of accusations in a public meeting. I'm not sure we need to get into accusations.
I agree.
talk to your
No, I mean,
neighbor.
he said he has proof of pictures that this thing was not posted properly, and you're starting to say he's trying to run people out of town. That's what I followed from your conversation. So all I'm saying is,
He-
let's keep
he-
it, wait,
he
wait,
brought-
wait.
he brought
Wait,
up
no,
the
I
subject
wasn't
of
done.
the public
Actually, I
works.
wasn't done. I think we just need to keep it to what's at hand, which is the fact, the thing that was brought up
And
is that the posting was improperly posted.
And it was,
That's what we're focused on, not whatever else that was.
The thing of it is those meetings were posted, and they were posted right. Each meeting was posted on the same day at a different time.
No,
Yes.
absolutely not. I have pictures of it.
I
The same
have,
time,
I have,
same
I
day.
have the copies on my computer.
Mayor, you have.
Yes.
You read it?
I think that, to go forward, I think that you need to look at what's on the books right now as a requirement for posting. And actually, you're not in violation, however, 2-5-11 regular meeting, I'm gonna read from it, okay? And I agree in some part with Elton to make it with, compliant with state law, that we need to amend it as written. Let me read into the minutes here.
Okay.
Regular meeting, the council shall hold regular meeting for transaction of municipal business on the first Monday of each month, and such other meetings to which the council, by order, may adjourn or which may be called. Special meetings may be called by the mayor or a written request of 3 members of the council, filed with the town clerk on their requisition, giving at least 3 days' notice thereof, in writing to all members of the council, and the mayor shall be present, and waive notice of the time and place of holding any special meeting, and such waiver is noted in the journal of the council's proceedings. Such meeting shall be valid without notice. Okay? To be compliant with state law, this really needs to be cleaned up. And I suggest, I draft something to that effect that gives the 48 hours. 48 hours is all that's required for posting of a special meeting.
That's by
Okay.
state law, right?
Yes, and however, it needs to be clearly posted in a public place, okay? And I think
No,
that,
it was not.
no,
Absolutely.
listen, I don't want to address history, okay? I think in moving forward, we can clarify this ordinance, make it compliant with state law, provide the notice requirements, and consistently follow it, and we won't have a
That would be an improvement.
Well, that's what I suggest we do.
Then if we need something that's a little easier to read or whatever, how do we get one of those scrolling red boards? I don't care if we got a marquee out on the street says we got to do a meeting next week. If people want to come, they can come, if that's simple. In my opinion, that's the way I look at it. It doesn't need to be a secret little bit.
The town council's for the right, represent the people.
Woman here.
There was an ACs at one point that they were gonna put in.
Yeah, and I agree with Hope, we need to,
I'll have that for the next meeting.
okay, great,
And that would be an amendment to an ordinance.
okay.
And so there would be 2 readings.
Next item on the agenda is Great West Engineering Draw 14. And this is the draw that we talked about in the last meeting. Please find enclosed the draw request for number 14 for wastewater project. Please have the CBDG and TSET request for fund forms. RD request for funds later. EJCDC engineering invoice summary and outlay report signed. Once signed, please mail or email them back to me for distribution to funding agencies. Find attached 4 copies of Missouri River Contractors Pay Allocation. Please have all 4 copies signed and returned to me to Rural Development for approval. Finally, also find the attached contractors' gross receipts withholding form are returned. This form should be mailed to Montana Department of Revenue with your payment. So what we are doing is they are requesting Missouri River Contractors $580,183.91. Montana Department of Revenue, the contractor's gross receipts, withholding form with the money, and that is $5,860.44. SK Geotechnical, is a $60 draw. Rachel's engineering for engineering fees is $33,173.50 of that, out of draw 14.
May I say something?
Yes.
Okay. This was to be approved at the last council meeting, excuse my voice. And, but everybody thought they didn't have all the paperwork. All the paperwork is on my desk before this is even presented to council. So, I was hoping I had a discussion on this prior. And what we stated is, instead of Shirley sitting here, page after page after page of all these reports that come with this draw, that we go ahead and approve it, and then they come in either after the meeting, she and Tim, or the next day and sign these so that I can get them off to Great West. But that's why there's tons and tons of pages of paperwork and signature work that goes with each one of these draws. But this paperwork was on my desk at the last meeting. But instead of having to read and sit through all the paperwork and read through all this, it's not necessary for council to have to do that. They just need to approve these draws so that they give us the money. It goes into our account, so we in turn can turn around and pay these persons that you're seeing highlighted on the next page. That's what's happening with this, okay? So do you understand how this works? I just didn't want you to think that the paperwork wasn't there, because I will never present it to you. And we just didn't think.
All this money can come in and we keep it.
No,
Right,
we
we pay it
can't.
back out. That's why we didn't, there's pages and pages, so why have her sit here and bother the council, the persons take their time up to sign these when everybody fully understands what this is all about, okay? These draws are on my desk. I would never present them to council unless all paperwork was sitting there waiting for you to decide, okay? So I just had to explain that again.
Well, I make a motion we accept draw request number 14.
I have a motion to accept draw request number 14. Do you have a second?
No second.
I have a motion is second, all approved, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm just assuming that everybody's gonna approve it. Jumping again. We have another draw, number 16 from Great West Engineering. And this is draw request number 16 for the wastewater project. In summary, it is asking for gross receipts of $352,595,000 or $595.19. $3,561.57 will go to Montana Department of Revenue. Great West Engineering for engineering fees will draw $31,542.38. The remaining money of $667.68 is reimbursement of interest to the town paid on the MBOI loan, should be used to fund either reserve account or used for another wastewater need.
I make a motion we accept draw request number 16.
Project going, I accept. I second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve draw request number 16. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's passed. Approval of Public Works Director Bill Zielinski. I am regretting to say that Mr. Zielinski, because of some things that have happened in town, has decided to resign his position. So we will dispense with that.
But Shirley, I think they also, I think they also need to know that he's been made an offer of $15 an hour,
More than we paid.
$15 an hour more out there where he came from than we pay him now, okay? So there was he got a call, there was a big wage change for him, so he chose to turn around and go back. And I think the council should, these people need to understand that.
And he did, he got a better job, he got a better
Why would you leave
wage
this
offer.
garden oasis for another $15 more?
Right?
So why would you leave this garden oasis
I know.
for $15 more?
So did you get that $1,000 signing bonus back then, or why is that?
Because we did not state it as a return if it was to get him to come out here and work. And it was an unwritten agreement that he would take the job and it would be long-term. But unfortunately, only because of his offer for a higher wage job that he got back in Oregon, but some other factors were fell into that, and that's why.
I just thought it was like
No, I
a
agree.
signboard said he worked so long.
From here on out, there needs to be something in place. If we're doing a signing bonus.
And
you gotta
we're
work
talking
X amount
about
of
that
hours
too
and-
already,
Yeah.
about doing contracts or anything like
Right.
that.
I'd like to say something. Seeing as how you guys added $5 an hour to Mike's wage, Mike was doing a terrific job. And he didn't exactly tell about his credentials properly. I think that it would be good for the council to have a resolution stating that the next person on the docket won't get paid any more than Mike. Because I think it's extremely unfair and plus, when it was first advertised on the board out here, it says $16.81 an hour. So you have these applications, okay, and then you bring him in and you offer him $5 an hour more. There's something a little bit crazy about this situation. If you're gonna advertise it for $16 an hour, doggone it, you better stick to it and be fair about this.
I think it was advertised at wages depending on experience, was it not, Brenda?
Yes. But, and his name is Bill Zelinsky. Mike Bentley was our old public
Yes,
works.
I'm talking about Mike though, in the
Right.
fact that he was extremely good worker and he was paid grossly underpaid, and then you want to pay this guy a whole lot more, and he hasn't even started the work yet. Now, that's not
When
right.
Mike left his job and resigned,
Yes, and you guys
We-
know very well why he did. You got to be fair to this guy. He was a doggone good worker. He was a hothead, a
I'm
true.
not gonna
but
argue
he was
with you,
good.
Elton.
As a
Yes.
member of the audience listening to all of that, I know that Mike resigned. I don't know all of the reasons behind his resignation, whether it was he got a better job or he had a pissy attitude, and I don't really care why he resigned. I know that he was being paid a certain amount, and from what I've been told, Bill Zelinsky was offered more than that. I totally disagree that we should keep any kind of wages for another public works director in line with, and not offer him any more than Mike Bentley. I mean, that times change, life goes on. Forget Mike Bentley and what he was making, but offer a fair wage and make sure that it's, if we're offering a sign-on bonus, that there's a stipulation that that's refundable if you don't stay for X number of years.
Right.
And, I mean, just do it right, but it doesn't have to be in line with what Mike Bentley was making.
No, it doesn't, and in fact, we had 7 applications, I believe. And everyone that I offered that job to would not accept it for $21 an hour because they could work in another town, for another company for twice that. Mike could have made a little bit better wages, but that was it. We just didn't have it in the budget at the time that's when the council decided at the budget sessions. We gave Mike a raise. We gave him a 3% raise, which isn't much, I agree. But when you're trying to hire someone to do a job and they're walking into a new job, they expect higher wages for their experience. And that's what it comes down to.
Well, did you offer the other applicants the same amount of money?
Yes.
Point of order. You can't be talking about specifics with regards to employees.
You're right. You're right.
Past or present.
Mhm. So we are going to dispense with the approval. And we'll get that to draw number 16. We already approved that, okay, I'm
We're
sorry.
down to public comment.
I have a public
Okay.
comment.
You have a public comment?
I'd like to know if they're going to, what their status is on repairing the roads when they're done with the sewer.
That
A
is
Street-
already being done.
A Street hasn't been
No,
done.
A Street has still got to be done, and I talked to the guy that they contracted with to do those repairs today, and that he is going to do that.
Because it seems to be.
Sure. I think you need to start at the city limits where they come in, trucks, because down here on School Street and Harley Avenue, that's all tore up too.
I know. And I've already got advertisements and bids out to repair the streets. And I've gotten, I think, 2 bids in, and we will open those sealed bids at the next meeting.
But as it goes with the company that meant, yeah, there's two different things. It's what you
Oh,
went
go ahead.
with compared to what Jerry was saying. But I think with the deal with Missouri River, I mean, that should be a deal where one of us as the council goes with them and go, obviously, I mean, this street was done, this was damaged by
Mhm.
big haul traffic, rather than just getting a promise and turning back and running away. I mean, as soon as they pack up their last trailer, they're gone. It's that simple, I mean.
And
unless-
I've already discussed that with the supervisor out there and with Chad Hansen at Great West Engineering, and they have guaranteed me that.
In writing.
In writing?
Yeah, I was gonna say, we gotta get something.
Aaron, yeah.
Yeah, on that, I've been around too many projects and too much construction. I suggest that you do not make the final payment until these other things are taken care of, because I can guarantee you, you will get the quickest job done possible.
I agree.
Because they're just gonna pull the plug and move, and
We've already seen that.
If you
because as
don't,
it gets to now, I mean, pretty much
And you need to
most
make
of
sure
the heavy
someone knows
hauls-
what they're looking at that goes and looks at it.
if you
Because
don't,
unless you've seen it,
yeah,
don't approve it.
Because it's gonna get to the point, A Street's almost to where if a car is going, it's gonna rip their whole, like, it's swelling out bad, so I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that A
something
Street, I went down and looked at it
addressed,
today. So, yeah, and I will go and meet with Eddie tomorrow, and I will also get in touch with Chad again.
And if anything, Friday will be my first day off, and we can schedule something too with them to
Yeah,
where
me-
on
me
their
too,
Friday,
yeah.
I'll go with and
Good,
get
that's a good
get
idea.
a spray paint and mark out.
Because I know
make sure you know
for
where the
the,
last draw is too, so you're not
Yes.
signing it without knowing
right,
when that last one is.
right.
I have a question, but we talked about this the other day when I was in your office, that all ordinances had to be signed twice, correct?
Ordinances,
Ordinance, not interim
not
ordinance?
interim.
Okay, that was just my question.
Yeah, and-
Interim is
A
to put
totally
things
different
in
deal.
place
Okay.
in case of emergency or
Okay,
actions that.
okay, I wasn't sure if that was followed the same law, so that was just what I was gonna
And
ask.
there's a procedure for ordinances anyway, because we have to have a committee to review the ordinances, make suggestions. Then the council they will give that to the council. Thereupon which Hope gets copies of those. She can go through the ordinances and if we want to amend them or write new ones or rescind them, then she will do that, codify them, and then we have to approve them at 3 separate
Well,
meetings.
Yeah, I knew that, I was just kind of thrown off because I forgot to ask her about the interim, that's why I
Right,
brought it up.
okay.
Have,
Yes,
Go ahead.
Keith.
Go ahead.